Hi, folks. So this Sunday we came to the end of the series that we've been doing in Leviticus, Numbers and Deuteronomy, looking at journeying with God in ordinary life. And one of the people in that story who plays a kind of outsized role is Moses. He certainly was an extraordinary man and, a giant of the faith. And this week, as we concluded that series, we concluded with the end of Deuteronomy, where Moses climbs Mount Nebo, he looks across to the promised land, knowing that he's not going to be able to enter in, and there he dies. Joshua has been commissioned as his successor, and it's going to be Joshua who'll lead them in. But right at the end, there's this incredible... it's not an epitaph because there's no tomb, there's no gravestone, but these incredible things that Moses is remembered for. He's remembered because he's the only person who ever talked with God face to face, kanahi ki te kanahi. And he had this really deep, intimate relationship with God. He's known for the amazing wonders that he did that persuaded Pharaoh to let the people go so that they could leave Egypt. And he's remembered as being this prophet that there was never another prophet like him. And of course, Jesus is the one who would later come as the prophet who surpasses Moses. But as I reflected on this, there are some things that just really stood out to me. Moses was so faithful right to the end. At the point where God told him he wasn't going to go into the promised land, he could have just said, well, I'm out, I'm done. But he continued to lead the people, and he continued to lead them right up to the point where he'd already commissioned Joshua, and God says, so now come up to the top of Mount Nebo, I'll show you the promised land, and you're going to die there. So Moses climbs this hill, this mountain, knowing that once he's done that, he's going to die. He's so obedient right to the end, and I'm challenged by that. Do you know what God's purpose for your life is? And are you living into that purpose? Or are you reluctant or perhaps even ignoring? If you don't know what your purpose is, maybe talk with a couple of people you trust and ask them to pray with you that God might show you what it is that he's calling you into and what his purpose for your life is. And then this idea of legacy, of imprint, the imprint that Moses has left on our faith and on the world is just massive. And we can't be Moses. God raised him up for a particular purpose at a particular point in history. But we will all leave an imprint on the world. And the question for all of us at different ages and stages is, what kind of person do I aspire to be? And am I becoming that person? And alongside that, if you watch the full video, I threw out some challenges because there's a question for those of us who are older is, can we help other people become the people that God is inspiring them to be? I challenge younger people to look for mentors and older people to be mentors. And I challenged parents to think about what kind of people they want their children to be and how they're raising them. So faithfulness, imprint, and then the final thing was just how do we think about death? Because Moses goes to his death willingly. And I think we spend a lot of time thinking about what it means to live well and to be shaped and formed in the image and likeness of Christ. But I think we also need to think about what does it mean to die well. And I think as part of that, we need to get past our fear of death, our sense that death is something really bad that we don't want to happen to us. Death is not a good thing, but it's not the end for us. And we have this hope of resurrection, this belief in resurrection that there is a life for us beyond death. And in light of that, I think that means that if we can die well, that in itself is a powerful witness as much as a life well lived is also a powerful witness. So a few things to unpack in your small groups together. Bless you all. Thank you.